Good to see everybody here. David Gates, K0BFE is going to do our presentation today, and I can't help but laugh because he didn't want to do it, and I twisted the heck out of his arm. I'm probably going to get beat up after today, and it better be good.
Who's a sergeant at arms?
All right,
See nothing.
we'll go turn it over to David. Glad everybody's here.
I will first tell you that I don't like doing presentations. I don't know how I managed to get hung into this thing. To get everything situated here.
Oh, let me tell you all this. It took a year to get him up here.
But don't group it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we here? Mark? There it is. Okay. As he said, my name is David Gates. I'm K0BFE. I have been licensed since 1987. My first experience with digital was actually Packet and then with APRS. I got out of ham radio for a while, kept my license up, and finally got back into it after May '99 when I went to war and couldn't get a cell phone call out, and decided that it was stupid that I had a perfectly good antenna and radio at the house, but nothing in my vehicle. So I got back into ham radio, been playing around with it a little bit, but about probably about 3 years ago, when I retired in 2020, October 2020, terrible time to retire. You know, you go out and see people and do things, and I walked up at the house of my wife for 3 years. She's getting ready to retire, so we're trying to adjust for being home 2 days a week, but now minimum before, well, 5 and 1. Anyway, so I kind of got interested in looking at different newer radios and things, and I started looking at digital. And that's when I first started getting interested mainly in the digital side of things. And I'll talk a little bit more as we get into a few more slides about that process and what I went through. But what I have done, let's see if I can get this thing to work. Yes, I have set up a Yaesu system fusion repeater. It's at Newcastle in the northwest side of town. It's on a tower. The antenna is up about 75 to 80 feet. I have fairly good coverage into South Oklahoma City. I can usually get to 59th Street in South Oklahoma City with my mobile. I've gotten into it from down in Purcell, coming up the hill from Purcell. And I can get into Norrin pretty good, but when you get on the east side of town, you start going up and down hills, I kind of lose you. So Mark can get into me with no problem from his house. Rob gets into me from his house at Dibble, so it's fairly good visibility. I also have on that repeater a Wires X room, and my Wires X room is 81281. You guys don't really need to write this stuff down because I've got some cards on the table. It's got it on the back of it, so you can find out these frequencies and these information. But that's the Wires X room I have. I also have a node. The repeater is actually locked in the Tri-City room. You cannot change it. Some repeaters, some systems that allow you to go in, you can change the rooms and get into other rooms and talk through it. What I've actually done is I've actually set up another system on an FTM 200. It's on this frequency, on antenna is about 50 feet. And you can actually get into that system. That system, change the room. You want to go to another room, you go to it. It's also programmed, so after about 20 minutes of being used or not used, it will actually go back into my room automatically. So that's a room that you can use. I also on my system, I've got a diagram, and I'll show it a little bit more in detail so that you can understand it at the end of this. I also have what's called a YSF reflector. And my YSF reflector is actually hosted at AOL, AWS in Virginia. And it is a software application that whenever you go through the hotspots, it actually is linked into my repeater. I've got a bridge there so that when you go to the YSF reflector, you can get into the repeater. When you're talking to the repeater, it goes into the YSF reflector. So if you don't have a radio,
Yaesu radio,
and I'll discuss this a little
too,
too, you can
you can
still
get
get
into
into
the computer
from
from
those
those
sources.
sources. The reflector room is 57618. So that's that.
So when I first started looking
at
going
going
digital,
digital,
I felt like I'm drinking out of a fire hose. Because I basically had heard of DMR and I heard of D-Star. I looked at D-Star and because I'm kind of a Yaesu fan. My great uncle, who's Paul Bissett, used to be, is an ICOM fan. So I thought, well, I'll look at ICOM, see what it's like. It was so daggone confusing. I couldn't understand what the heck I was reading. So I thought, okay, that's not going to work for me. So then I got thinking, well, I'll try DMR. And DMR started talking about code plugs and colors and time slots and all this stuff that another set of gibberish to me. Didn't make any sense. So then I started looking at Yaesu System Fusion and WiresX. And for the most part, for me, and I think most of the people that I've gotten involved in it, that's doing it, will agree that it's pretty much plug and play. There's a little bit of a learning curve in it, but it's fairly easy to use. So one of the things I wanted to kind of go through today is kind of go through the different data or different digital methods that's out there that ham radio has been using. C4FM was developed by Yaesu. It's what they call their system fusion technology. A lot of times you'll hear people talk about WiresX, system fusion, C4FM, and it all sounds like gibberish. Well, basically, C4FM and system fusion, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, Dwayne, is basically the same thing. It's just different names that they've given to it over time. But the C4FM is the standard by which Yaesu is using their digital. There's DMR, and DMR was kind of was a commercial, was out there commercially. I think they was using it originally for commercial radios. It got adapted over to use for the ham radio purpose, and then that's whenever it started being used. M17 is a new one that's coming out. It's fairly, I guess you might say it's still in its diaper stage. They're still working through some bugs and things. It's getting better all the time. The big thing about the M17 that may make it a standout, if they can get everything worked out in it, it's an open source architecture. When you're talking about D-Star, you're talking about C4FM, those are proprietary, which means they have to pay money to use those methods. Whereas with M17, it's going to be open source, which means anybody can build it into their systems that want to, and it costs them absolutely nothing to do it. They've got the software, they can rewrite it, they can do whatever they want to make it work. But M17 is going to be probably one of the things that's coming on. It may, I don't know if it will do it in my lifetime, but at some point it may be the standard for everybody. And that everybody just uses M17. D-Star was developed in the 90s for the Japanese Amateur Radio League. This is used by mainly Kenwood and ICOM exclusively. I know he uses it quite a bit. P25 was developed for public service use. I think Galen and some, did you ever use any P25 in your equipment that you have?
Everything we have now is P25.
I thought it was. I think most of the digital format for any of the public service is P25 right now. But there are some ham, I guess some ham groups that actually use it. NXDN, which I'd never heard of before, is William Blockett. Okay. It was created in 2023 through a venture between ICOM and Kenwood. I assume they probably were trying to come out with their own version of digital. And then they've got the PSAG, and this is pretty much used in Europe for pagers, for one-way communications, just paging type situations. So you want to, as I mentioned earlier, you hear a lot about system fusion, WiresX, and YSF. Really, as I said, the C4FM and the system fusion is basically the same thing. That's just Yaesu's name for their C4FMs. WiresX is a network that's owned and controlled by Yaesu. It is a proprietary system. They do not allow anybody else to come in or out of it. The servers are all housed on Yaesu equipment. And you have to go through them to get certification or get numbers and stuff, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. YSF reflectors has nothing to do with Yaesu, none whatsoever. As a matter of fact, Yaesu frowns upon the way that I have my system set up because they don't like YSF and WiresX communicating to each other. They want to keep them separate because they want to control the WiresX totally, and the YSF, that is actually a group of individuals who have the software needed to run it on a server somewhere, and they're actually running it. So Yaesu has no control over it. Oh, quick thing. If you have a question, ask it. Don't listen. Let's not wait till we get to the end. I have this problem. I get up from my chair to go get something out of the bedroom and I forget what it was before I get there. And no questions can be that way too. So if you have a question, just jump in, don't ask. Yes?
You know of any manufacturers that plan on putting in 17 in their radio?
Actually, Rob, who is it's putting in?
Connect Systems.
Connect Systems is putting it in. Is it his or HT's right now?
It's just a
Ed knows a lot about that.
But at the moment, there are other groups talking about it, but a lot of it's still very aware at the moment until we start seeing models. But there are other brands looking into it.
Okay. Well, I know that the Connect Systems has it because I've actually seen them. You may have one, I think.
I do.
I thought that you did, yeah. So, they are coming on. Little is something that, they are coming on. This talks about the WiresX technology and the fact that it's, part of the system fusion. It's along the, Yaesu servers and that they basically control it. Think of WiresX as you would a talk group in DMR. It's basically a conference, a virtual conference room where everybody can connect and get together. You can have any number of people connected into a room. One of the more popular rooms is Kansas City Wide. And Kansas City Wide room, if I was going out there and connect to it today, it would probably have 138 nodes connected to it. There was a room years ago and still around called America Link that used to have like 80 or 90. And Kansas City Wide has grown so large that they've actually became the largest network in the United States for WiresX. Yaesu has multiple radios that are capable of doing digital. There's some that are capable of doing digital, and there's some that are capable of doing the WiresX. The original digital radios will not, or the C4FM radios will not do the WiresX, but if you go through the reflector as a digital, you can still get into a WiresX room that way. I went through and kind of pulled up some of the different radios that they've had over the years, because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I have something stuffed in a drawer somewhere that I haven't used forever, and I thought, oh, now it's usable. So I wanted to point out, if you have something, you can let me know. These are two of the archived mobile radios. Okay, these are the archived WiresX radios. I actually own an FT3DR. I own an FTM200. I own 3 FTM300s, and I own an FTM500. The FTM500 has just been, the 500, 200, and 300 have just been archived as radios, I think somewhere as about January 1. So if you have any of these, then you can still get onto the WiresX system. The only current, this is the only current production C4FM digital radio. This is an FT70. We use this quite a bit with hotspots. I loaned Anthony, and a couple other people a radio and a hotspot to try it out to see if they wanted to do the digital or not. So it's a very inexpensive handheld. I think right now it's only about $150, so it's not that expensive. These are the current production radios that's available. You have the 510 DR, both the DR and the ASR. You have the FTM5 handy-talkie and the 991A. How many people have a 991A? How many of you have used it for C4FM? I know you have, I know you have. If you have a 991A, you can get into Wires X and you can get into my repeater with it. You just have to program it instead of FM into digital mode, and it will function and get into the repeater. So a lot of people want to know how you can get into the Wires X mode. And I've actually, all of this is set up is to show you the different ways. One of the ways you can get into a Wires X room is RF to a repeater node that has a Wires X connection. You can go through a radio connected to a computer running the Wires X software in what they call the PNB mode. Now, this is an internet connection. You're actually going through the internet to come into that room. And I'll show you some connections here in just a minute on that. There are two types of PDN nodes, and to be honest with you, the second one I've never used because when I've used it, I've talked to people about it. I've talked to people in Kansas City wide because I was curious if they ran digital and analog on both, because you can run digital and analog both through Wires X. And I asked them about it, and they said that they really had so much problem with the analog and trying to get all the settings correct and all the audio is correct and everything, that they decided to just stick digital. So on one of the PDN modes I'm going to show you, it's actually going to be where it handles analog, not analog and digital, not just digital. Okay, I didn't mind lifting pictures from Yaesu up here from helping them out on lifting pictures. This is a portable digital mode, and this is in direct operation. And the cool thing about this is that in direct, your radio is not putting any RF out at all. You're just transmitting through the computer, through the internet, to the room you're connecting to, or to the node you're connecting to. Now, the nice thing about that is you don't have to have an antenna outside. You don't have to have anything to do it. You can be sitting and I've got one. Okay. Oh, I didn't even invite it again. The nice thing is it is all digital and everything goes through the radio. Right now, this radio on my desk. Yes.
So in the mode you're talking about right here, is your radio hardwired to the computer?
Right now, I've got this HT connected to this computer through a cable.
Okay, so that's why there's no RF.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I key it, it's not going to key any RF. It's going to go straight to the repeater. Yes.
That Wires X software free download off the Yaesu website?
Yes, it is. And they update it every once in a while too. I can take you out and show you the website here in just a minute where it's at. Anyway, I've got the beauty of this is with the direct mode. If I'm somewhere and I don't want to be broadcasting RF, then I can still talk on the repeater and have my problem. For example, when I was in Kansas City last October, I ran our AriesNet through my repeater from Kansas City in direct mode because I could call the net, I could hear everybody on the net, they could hear me, and I wasn't doing any RF. Now, there is another way of doing this, which is called an access point mode. Now, this is the one I usually use most of the time because I have a fifth wheel trailer. And when I go park my trailer somewhere in an RV park, and they've got good enough internet connection, I can set up the computer, I can set up my laptop, hook up to my antenna that I've got on the back of my fifth wheel, and I can talk from my truck into that radio from the truck. So basically, what it does is it does transmit and receive RF. So that radio with the antenna on it is actually in access point mode. Now you can switch between access point mode and direct mode easily, and it's just a matter of punching the AB button, if I remember correctly. But I use the access point a lot. Actually, my node at my house that I was telling you could get into to change rooms is in an access point mode, is what it's set up as. Now, the other way of doing a PDN is through what they call the HRI mode. And the HRI mode is the one that allows you to do, it shows both analog and digital. And I'm not 100% sure, Dwayne, you can maybe answer this for me. It's my understanding that it doesn't convert the analog to digital. The analog just goes straight across analog to analog. So if you're doing digital and somebody else is doing analog, you're still not going to hear them. It's just going to be the static and the noise that you hear. And quite frankly, the reason that I prefer the digital and using the digital is that Rob lives 16.1 miles from me. I think we clocked it. We can get on the repeater on analog and he's got noise and static and pop noise behind him. He can do nothing but switch over to digital. No change of the radio, no change of the frequency, no change of the antenna, and it comes in crystal perfect clear. It's totally quiet. It's just like you're talking on the phone. Now, not like when you used to talk on the phone and pop and crack in there. But the digital signal is a much stronger signal, it's a much clearer signal, and all the static and the noise and all that stuff is totally gone. And it's just amazing how much difference it is. So if you wanted to have your own wires X room, and anybody can have a wires X room, all you've got to do is have a radio, the HRI 200, and the registration through Yaesu, then you can get on a wires X room. You need to always be cautious though, because with the wires X room, it is only on when the computer's on. If you turn your computer off, turn your radio off, whatever, the wires X room goes down. It's only active while the system is on and functioning.
Why it's a good idea to have a battery backup of the system.
Should I tell them?
Yes.
I have two 100 amp LiPo 4 batteries in my basement. All of my radios are connected to that battery. I've got 4 1-watt LED light bulbs connected to that. And I have my computer that actually runs my node is actually on a UPS backup, so it only lasts about 45 minutes. But the repeater is designed so if the power goes off, it drops to 20 watts. And I'm thinking probably I would have 3 days of power in those 2 batteries to supply for my repeater to stay up. I can't over. My wife said, when you build something, can you just build it, not overbuild it? I told her, I said, have you ever met my dad? My dad always overbuilt everything. Yeah. 200. 2 100s. Yeah, and there's a charger that stays on those all the time. I've actually got a isopole, can't think of what, Power RX or whatever it is, that is plugged in so that it comes from the power supply from the battery, and then out. So it automatically in an instant clicks over as like a switch to turn on the battery back up. The power goes off. It doesn't miss a beat. Oops, direction. This is what the HRI 200 looks like. This is the device that actually allows you to have your room. It's ironically, it hadn't gone up in price. I bought mine, it was $124.95, and I checked the other day and it's still $124.95. But not everybody wants a room. I mean, it's up to you if you want a room. You don't have to have a room. There's lots of ways of getting around and getting onto the wires X and then the YSF. This is the page. Even if you do the PDN mode, you still have to go out to Yaesu and register with them. They're going to give you a unique number, actually 2 unique numbers. Those unique numbers are gonna be called your room number and your node number. Even though even if you're not doing a room, you still have to put that number in and we register it with the software. So it knows who you are and where you're at and all that kind of thing. And the process used to take about 3 days to get it. I think Rob had one that took 2 weeks, I think it was, almost 2 weeks. A lot depends on how busy they are. I was talking to somebody and he was actually telling me that Yaesu actually doesn't have an automated process to verify your call sign. What they do is when you put your call sign in, if you put your name as Bill Lockett, but your real name is William Lockett on your FCC license, it won't take it. So they have to physically go through every one of those by hand and go, oh, okay, this is Bill, that's William, that's got to be him, it's good. So that's the reason it takes so long. It's not an automated process of doing verifications of things. This is my mess. If you want to kind of understand how my system works, I have the reflector that's hosted at AWS. It's on the internet. This 300 is just my normal base station radio that I'm using. I have a OpenSpot 4 Pro that, like what I have in my pocket, I carry one with me all the time. I've got a spare one. These are really nice, but they're expensive. They've got a built-in battery, and I can take my HT and carry my phone anywhere I'm at, and I can hear my repeater. It doesn't matter if I'm in the car, in the restaurant, at church, I can hear my repeater with this. So this one is actually, the reason I purchased this one originally was because I was told that the best way to get a bridge set up was between the Wi-Fi and the computer here was to do the OpenSpot 4 Pro. Its frequency is on the same frequency as my node. This is the node I was telling you about that you can come in and change. You can come into it and change into any room that you want to. Setting on not on the floor, but in a rack next to my desk is the DR2X. It's on its frequency. It has an HRI 200 in it. It's connected to a laptop. It's also on battery backup. And the antenna I have for this is actually my GP9, which is like an 11 dB UHF antenna. But what this does is it allows anything that comes in from the internet to come through the Wi-Fi, through the hotspot, through here, and then bridges to here, because this is connected to my room, it goes in there. If that gets connected to, like for example, on Tuesday mornings, there's Kansas City net that I listen to. It's a second cup of coffee. K0BFE, very good friend of mine, hosts that net. Mark had the pleasure of meeting him when he was here a few months back. When I connect to that, I use my node to connect to it. Then it goes out to the YSF. I think Mike heard it one day, was wondering what it was because he was freaking out. It was doing something he wasn't expecting. And I talked to it through this radio into that radio. But that's been my project and my kind of monstrosity over time. One of the things, as I mentioned, that I've been really upset about is the fact that, and Mike and Rob and most all of us have been talking about is that right now Yaesu does not have an inexpensive way to get into Wires X. I mean, you talk about a 510, it's $600. You talk about a FT5 DR, what was yours?
I got it on sale for like $370.
A lot of people that's getting new into something don't want to spend that kind of money. So Rob started and I kind of jumped on the bandwagon with him. He bought an FT70. I liked it. I bought one and liked it. And I've actually bought another one. I have two. But what I do is I loan basically what's at the end of the table here, the FT70 and a hotspot out to people that are wanting to try digital. I did it with Anthony. I did it with what's Jess's call sign? K's yeah. Jess over in Tulsa wanted to do it. And what it does, it allows somebody to look and see if they want to spend the money to get into digital, but it also gives them the opportunity to play with it and try it out. I can honestly tell you, the two people that I've loaned it to, before, I tell them they can keep it for a couple months, and in a couple months, I want to get it back. I've never had it out 2 months. Usually within the first 2 weeks, they're buying their radio, within the next 2 weeks, they're buying their hotspot, and then my radio comes back.
FT70s right now are 100.5.
Yep,
The 5s are 370.
and you can build a hotspot, well, at one point you could build a hotspot for about $65 with a tariff, I haven't priced one lately. But for under $250, you can get a radio and hotspot and get in, which is a good thing. What do you think? Ooh. Okay. Mark was showing me that there's some scuttlebutt on the internet that Yaesu may be coming out with another mobile. It's gonna be they're gonna do it with and without the ASP, I noticed. They're talking about coming out with an FT310D or DASP. And it's gonna be very similar to the 3, but it's gonna have a mono screen on it. And it's supposed to be maybe released in November. We're not, I've talked to the regional sales manager for Yaesu twice in the last 6 months. And I've put a bug in his ear about the fact that he's making it hard to get people involved with this, with not having a good entry level radio. And he keeps telling me there's something in development, but that's all he'll ever say.
David, the 70 does have wireless access.
I haven't used it yet.
Function AMS.
Function and something.
So what's the difference between the Yaesu with the AST? Yeah.
Mark can answer that. He has one.
I've got the 510 with the ASP. Let me tell you a difference. It's a difference in doing an analog and digital, because you get the added feet of the filter. It takes out all the noise and the crackle and the pop, even in digital, because you're in a bad area, in the low area, and you get it coming. The audio coming through that radio is crystal clear. And you can either set it up with the filter or without, or set it on auto, and it'll take care of it for you.
So it just filters out the noise.
It filters out everything. It's like having a real strong filter in it.
Does it do it real well on analog?
Yes, I leave it on auto and it works with the analog as well. And it takes out a lot of the noise, the background noise and
It's
stuff.
like what, a $60 difference?
80.
80
Okay.
$80 difference, and it's worth every penny for that ASP filter.
We had a guy that was up here on Elmer's night and he had one of just a VHF radio that had it on there. I didn't know what it was. And we had it hooked up and you heard all the static. He pushed that button and I mean, it was no noise at all.
So I figured the 310D ASP that they're talking about coming out with will be worth it, because it has that built-in feature that only right now 510 has. Wait, Dave.
This is probably a really dumb question, probably shouldn't even be asked, but
Just because I'm the one that always asking.
this is being able to use your radio, digital or analog, and transmit. But you're transmitting over internet, so you've got no limits on distance you can go.
No. Think of it this way, you're going in one point and coming out some other point, wherever it's at in the World Wide Web. It can be, I'll show you here in a minute. I've got a couple of slides up there to pull up. Yeah.
And your diagram you had there, where you could get into the system through the computer. You had some very specific radios listed. Are those the only ones?
Yeah, they have to be digitally enabled radios. If they've got a data cable, a port on them, then you can connect them. There's a 10-pin data port on the back of these two 300s, back of the 500 and 400. They've got a funky, weird little data port on the side of the 510, the FT5R and the FT3R.
So it has to be a Yaesu radio with that.
Yeah, it has to have that data port, yes.
Can't be any other.
So here's another caveat I'll tell you though. And I asked Rob to bring it and he can show you. You don't have to have a Yaesu radio to get into my system. How many of you have DMR? You can do a hotspot, and the nice thing about a hotspot, it's got codecs in them. And what it'll do is I can use my hotspot and go into DMR. Every Monday night when I check into the DMR net, I am not using a DMR radio. I'm using my three, my handy talkie. I'm going through the hotspot into the DMR. You can do the same thing from DMR. Rob's got his radio set up to do DMR to YSF, and he can talk into my repeater or my YSF reflector through that radio. And it comes out my repeater.
By using the same group numbers or top, room numbers?
Oh, yes.
I've done that with DMR by SF, thanks to Rob.
So-
Helping me set
So
up.
here's the other cool thing about this. Is I have a hotspot in my vehicle that is zip tied in. The one I've got zip tied in is a different one than the one that this is because it has ceramic antennas, so it's got no antennas sticking out. I've got one for my wife's car, one for my car. I think Rob has one or two for his cars. Didn't you get a couple of those ceramic antennas? And you can just put the case on it. I can push a button, turn it on, and it's automatically connected to my room. So when I get out where I can't hit my repeater anymore, it's connected to my phone, which is in my pocket all the time. I can switch to that frequency and I can talk to my repeater anywhere I'm going. When I go to Kansas City, I put my hotspot in my pocket on Kansas City wide, my other one on my radio for home, and I can listen to both of them while I'm driving along. And I can hear either one of the conversations I want to. Mark just got back from vacation. We're at,
Cheyenne, Wyoming.
I'm sitting one day and all of a sudden I hear Mark, and he's in Cheyenne, Wyoming. 6,000 feet, I think you said.
Yeah, that's the time when
He's
I talked.
giving me altitudes as he's going. I don't know why, but it may make a difference, but he did.
Then in Colorado,
Then in Colorado,
and then in New Mexico.
and then in New Mexico. I was sitting one day listening to, just monitoring the repeater and the reflector and waiting for my grandson to get out of school. And Mike Prince, who's up here, was in Alabama, wasn't Mike? Yeah, I think he was visiting his brother in Alabama. He just says, gave his call sign out and says testing. And I picked up the microphone and says, stop testing, let's talk. And I'm sitting in front of the school at 44th and Young's, and he's in Alabama driving down the highway. The nice thing is with the YSF reflector up, if you've got a cell phone with a hotspot on it, you can connect these hotspots to it, and you can go anywhere with a radio and talk. Mike, I've talked to him 5 times this week, probably,
At least, yeah.
going to Tulsa. Tell him.
So, well, it was Thursday, I was driving to Chickasha. And I got on the Kansas City room and I was talking to somebody, I don't know who it was, I think maybe it was Jim, maybe. But anyway, I'm driving, and next thing I know, a guy from Trinidad and Tobago is calling me. And I'm talking to this guy as I'm driving to Chickasha. A number of times I've tried to holler at you in your room. And Lance, K0BFE, he was in Wyoming, and all of a sudden he comes back.
I listened to you. I think
He was
I
in
was doing
Colorado
some-
one time.
I was doing something. I didn't get to the radio. I was listening to you two talking back and forth.
It was so funny. I mean, I'm in my work van, driving from Tulsa back to Oklahoma City, and I'm talking to some guy up in Wyoming just out of the blue. So it's,
So
It's a
tell
lot
them
of
what you
fun.
told me about the digital, about how much you like it.
so I tried DMR for quite a while, and I like it. But I don't know why I can understand this a little bit better, and I am just having a ball. I know a lot of people say it's not real ham radio because it's going over the internet. I don't care. I'm having a ball talking to people all over the world. It's just a lot of fun.
The thing that I always I'm kind of old school too. I don't like, new things. I've got to that age where you don't like those things. I didn't ever get there, but I'm there. Anyway, I change. But I look at people who say that using the internet is not true ham radio. True ham radio is communications. It doesn't matter how you get there, it's communications. It's all that it amounts to. And to them, I would say saying that it's not true ham radio. Well, it has its challenges. Mike and I have been fighting an issue that he's been having and trying to figure out what's going on. I got a call from W4 IPD last night. I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, he's up at Edmond, up north of Edmond in Logan County. It's 200. Every time he'd key it, it would drop power. It just cut off. And I ironically had the same problem with my wife's radio. And when I found out it was a bad power connection, the power plug wasn't, the wires were broke loose. It's hanging by a thread. It's calling too much current. It's shutting the radio down. So I told him, I said, put another power cord on it. Check your power cord, see what's going on. He put another power cord on it, called me back, said, I haven't any problems. When I do, I'll let you know. And he was getting ready to ship the radio back to Yaesu.
So when you're doing the, over the river through the woods, how much delay is there between I push?
Okay, so here's the thing. With any digital mode, whether it's DMR, this stands true for DMR, this stands true for Yaesu, it stands, you need to take a couple of beats. Push the button, take a couple of beats, talk, get done, take a couple of beats, let go of it, and then wait. Now, what Yaesu has that's really nice on theirs, and I don't know if DMR does this or not, you can actually put, the repeater doesn't have a courtesy tone on it at all. The controller is built into the radio, the repeater doesn't have a courtesy tone. But there is what's called a courtesy beep that you can go set in your radio so that whenever that stops transmitting, it'll beep in your radio so you know that it's done. And that's really handy to know what's, when it's transmitting and when it's not transmitting and that kind of thing. Any other questions? Yes.
Is that lag time longer through a hotspot and cell system?
Is like when you've got multiple repeaters or multiple bounces, that's where you really end up in problems, because you got one repeater keying up another repeater, keying up another, and then you get delays and that kind of thing. But the way that mine's set up, you take about a half a second or a couple of breaths and then let go and then start up and you'll be fine.
And part of the thing too, David, is when we've had this problem before, if we're talking direct RF over your repeater, it's instantaneous. And then if we answer each other really fast, Ethan was trying to get in on his hotspot, and because it takes a second, to go through the hotspot, transcode it over to YSF, get it to your reflector to the repeater, he couldn't even get on the conversation. I
have the same problem. The other night on the DMR, it was the 5th attempt before I finally got in. Because anybody that's on the DMR repeater, they take priority over me. And it takes, like he says, it takes me a while to transcode, it takes me a while to key out, it takes me a while to get there. So sometimes I get in, like that. Sometimes I get wiped out because somebody else is there. But he's
Crossbanding, is it?
Huh?
It's almost like crossbanding.
Oh, yeah, it's almost like crossbanding. And that's kind of a, I want to say something, I'll probably get ridiculed. It's kind of a bad habit we catch with repeaters. I listen to the repeater, there's people that don't even wait for the tone almost sometimes. They jump in so fast. And the problem is when you're doing digital, that's a habit you gotta break. It really is. It's one of those things, it takes a little getting used to that, wait a minute, I gotta wait a second, let it do its thing so I can get in.
And you should break it for analog as well.
Yeah. It makes it hard for somebody to get in that wants to get in, that might have something to add to the conversation.
So also on the Kansas City rooms, how many nets do they have? They have, if you like nets, there's like
40
or
nets.
40.
I think they have like 3 nets a day or something. I mean, it's an average thing. Actually, it was really funny because David Albright, K0BFE, my good friend up there, he does 2 nets. Well, actually, he does more than 2 nets. The 2 I know about is he does Tuesday morning, the second cup of coffee, and he does what's called fish sticks on Tuesday nights, which is based on fishing because he loves to fish. He's a blind ham, by the way, guys. Totally blind. He fishes. I said, how in the world do you do it? He says, all by feel. He says, I treat them good, they treat me good, we all get along. Anyway, he called me up on the phone one day and says, hey, we want to start a new net, and we understand there's a guy in Oklahoma that's big in the M17. Do you know him? And I said, of course I know him. He helped me get my reflector up. He's been a good source of information for me when I've asked him for things. And it was Jeff Schofield, AE5ME. So I got him connected with Jeff. Now, Jeff does every Saturday at noon on the Kansas City wide room. He does the 17 net. And it's not just for people in Oklahoma or people in Kansas City, as he said, there's people from all over the world listening to him on those nets.
Well, and yesterday I was driving back from Yukon and there was a net, I think they called it the international net or whatever. The guy calling the net was from England. There's a guy on there from Scotland. I mean, anyway, it's just kind of funny because you hear all these accents. And I'm like, holy smoke, your accent is so strong. I can't even understand you, especially with Scottish guys, but it's fun to listen to.
So if you do install WiresX, this is what the dashboard on your node will look like. This is actually, this is my rooms on, this is the rooms on this one that I've got saved right now. This is a guy that I know from, I've gotten acquainted with that lives at Winningwood and of course the Kansas City wide. Down here, these are actually nodes. These are not actually rooms. And what's interesting about this is that on more than one occasion, I wanted to talk to Mark about something. So instead of calling him on the repeater, I can connect, he has a node, I can connect directly to his node. So it goes from my radio, which I'm broadcasting out, RF, but if I was in direct mode, it wouldn't, through the internet, back to his node, and I'm hollering at him on his node. I'm talking to him on his node. So you can go point to point. You don't have to go to rooms. You can go point.
So if you do that, is that like a private call? Only
No.
No?
Because I'm still putting RF out on the repeater.
Okay.
I'm still putting RF out on the repeater. Anyway, this tells you which rooms are connected. These are all, this is the repeater. This is my gateway. This is my node that you can change. This is my son's. He picked up my old call sign and I picked this one up. And he has a 300 on a GP3 mounted on a second story roof of his house over south, just east of the Moore football field. But his frequency is not listed anywhere. He doesn't want anybody to know it because he's afraid somebody will get in and do something malicious. I keep telling him if they do, I would hear it because it would come into my room because it is locked. But if I get into more and I can't get into my repeater, or I was in Del City, I couldn't get into my repeater. If I can get into his frequency on his node, it would take me directly to my repeater. Or his, either one. I'm in the process at some point in time of putting another one up in South Oklahoma City at my son's house. It's about 62nd and Robinson, on the south side of Oklahoma City. Okay.
Is that also available for Linux?
No, I don't believe it is. Not that I'm aware of. So here's a couple of cool things. This is the hotspot that's on the table here. This is the dashboard for it. This will tell you who's talked into it, what room it's in. I can change the rooms. I've got profiles. I think I got profiles in this one. This is one that I use as the one. Yeah, I can go from this hotspot. I can connect to the DMR, the room 3140 DMR, or I can connect to the Kansas City wide room. It takes one click and a click, and then it automatically goes through and changes everything. And then that handy talkie would be talking to wherever that room is.
But you can steer
Oh,
your
yeah.
reflectors, or just like you can on DMR, you can steer it from radio. You don't have to have a profile set up for every.
There's a drop down here that you can go to, and you can go to any of these.
But you can also do it from your radio. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can also steer it.
I usually don't steer it from the radio, so. Okay, this need to. This is a list. This is my YSF reflector dashboard. This is actually being pulled off of my server that I have them using up at AWS. This tells me everybody who is actually connected, all the hotspots that's connected to my reflector. This is my son in South Oklahoma City. This is my friend in Kansas City. This is Jess. This is Michael Prince. And these are all mine because I got so many stuff up here. And these two are Rob's. I had a real big shock. I didn't know that this happened. I didn't know this was there. And I was listening to a brand new reflector that they had set up from Kansas City wide room about 2 years ago. And I just put my hotspot on it, left it on all the time. I was on about a week and I got an email from a guy I never knew, and he says, "So I see you're listening to my reflector. How's it going? Do you like it?" And I was like, "Oh crap." What happened? So if Mike is out and about and he's doing his on his truck, his call sign will show up there and I'll know that his reflector's on and it's connected to my room or my YSF reflector. This is a list of all of the reflectors, and this is, you can just do a YSF reflector list search, and this will show you all. This is a list of reflectors all over the world on YSF reflectors. There's tons and tons and tons. And the cool thing about this one is, it even gives you what the YSF to DMR to YSF reflector hot group is. It gives you the YSF DTM map. So you can actually, for example, my reflector, come on. No. My reflector is 5761. 8. This is my reflector, and you can see if he was going into DMR, what the top would be to get to it. This other one, get all this stuff out of the way.
See, that's the point, David. While you're looking for that, because Mike is keyed up on your.
Yeah.
And Ethan had his Droid Star going on his phone, so from a Droid Star, it can come out RF on your repeater. Yes. So
Yes.
a cell phone, that's something else.
Yeah, you can use Droid Star to get into my repeater that way too. But that's the only reason you can do that, we need to caveat that. The only reason you can get into my repeater is because you're going through the YSF reflector. Because Droid Star doesn't do wires X, it only does the YSF.
And neither do your hotspots.
And neither do your hotspots. So you're only coming through the repeater and through the wires X room because of the YSF reflector bridge. This is a list of all of the messing with me. These are all of the
That's Bright Star, that's coming in off the cell.
yeah, I saw that. That's the other thing, guys. If you do come in on digital, it has a call sign, so I know who it is. Okay? Don't think it's anonymous. It does have your call sign.
One of the advantages,
Don't tempt us.
one of the advantages of digital, how many of you have an HT in here with you? And if you tried to key up on 06 in here, could you do it in the building? You can. Digital, I could hit his repeater over there in Newcastle, standing right here with the HT in digital mode. Because I'm going through my Pi-Star reflector to his repeaters. And I can do it in a building like this that really blocks signal. And I'm just using.
Yeah, you could be in a basement of a building. If you had internet connection through that building somewhere, and you could connect to it, you could talk out to anywhere in the world from there. Anyway, I wanted to point out, this is a list of all the wires X rooms all throughout everywhere in the country and the world. I understand, and Dwayne, you might agree or disagree. I think I had heard somewhere one of the main reasons that Yaesu came up with wires X and the digital was that in Japan, the population is so densely populated, they can't put antennas up on anything. I think somebody told me that they literally have laws, you can't put an antenna on a building. And they wanted to come up with a way that people could communicate on ham radio and not have antennas. And with the hotspots and the digital, you can do that and not have to.
Hey, David, you know, I know a lot of people may not, if they're in an HOA or a very strict HOA, and you just can't have antennas. Or, let's say you live in an assisted living area, you can't have, your radios.
you can do this.
I got news for you. If I ever go to the hospital again, my hotspot and my radio is going with me. Now, they may not like me very much, but my wife's been wanting to take a cruise. And I've been thinking, I see, I wonder who I can talk to be able to use the radio.
So has anybody looked at doing this to HF?
I do, we've talked about,
Yeah, there are DV, all of this, what you're talking about is all of the formats do the same thing. There's an M17 that's HF and number.
Because you did HOAs, that's one of the biggest things, because they can't put up an HF antenna.
yeah. Actually, Mike Prince, is he still there? He must have, he may have.
He's there.
No, he's there. Mike Prince lives in an HOA. He had a lady give him a 20-foot tower, flagpole. So he decided that he wanted to mount an antenna on top of it. So he went down to a local machine shop and had them build him a special mount that this antenna would fit on, and all the coax goes down through the flagpole. I had talked to Comet several years ago and I ordered some more elements because I bent some on an antenna. And they informed me that you really only need one element on the ground plane antenna. You don't need all three. That's there for aesthetic values. So Mike got the bright notion. He mounted the antenna on the top, put the element towards the house, and he's decided if anybody asks, it's a ground rod. It's a lightning rod. So, but I think he's gotten away with it. Nobody said anything to him about it.
And flagpoles are legal anywhere, as are TV antennas.
Yeah. Now, Dish Network and them kind of made that deal. Okay, any more questions? So I'm gonna tell you what I've got. This radio is in direct mode. This radio is actually connected to this computer through the room. It is not going to be putting any RF out. This is down, that's off. Okay, I don't want too much noise. So basically, with the direct mode, if you go through, it should come through the repeater if everything's working well. K0BFE, Justin. That's no RF out whatsoever. Now, this radio here. This radio is giving me problems. It keeps falling off when I take it on air mode for some reason. But basically what my intention was with this radio was, I was going to show you what an access point shows. So you could actually key the radio, talk to this, and then it would send it back through. This radio is actually connected to my repeater, K0BFE. But if I want to, I can actually go to this frequency. This is actually the frequency for my node. I can hit the X button. This one is going to connect to my node. Right now it's connected to the Tri-City room. This has saved rooms in it, so I can go where it says search and find. I can go down and I can go to most used. I can search all, or I can look at all. I can go in here, I can choose a room. Let's go to American Kansas City Wide. I can push the button, and what's going to happen is this is going to connect. Now, one thing I will tell you about this. Excuse me. You cannot disconnect that room until somebody stops talking. And then you can disconnect the room, because if you try to disconnect it while they're talking, it will not function through. So what I can do is I can go down to the Tri-City room. And whenever they stop talking the next time. I'll push it too soon. Oh, my. Well, I usually stay away from there unless I'm at the house and I can just let it go until I'm ready to listen to them. Hopefully, if I'm at the house, there's ways of, all right, we'll just turn that on. Okay, any last minute questions? Just,
Flashed up here that your internet connection was unstable. Now, is that through your hotspot or your cell service dropping out?
it's my cell service. I've got my cell
Have you
phone.
noticed any differences from one cell service type to another?
Not really. I'm on AT&T. I haven't had any problems with it.
I'm on T-Mobile and I can talk to them from Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, without ever dropping.
The message you saw was from Zoom. And that's the internet in
Oh, okay.
in the room.
That was a
So that's Zoom. They did it over here too.
Oh, so I'm innocent then, okay. Anyway, if you guys were done with pretty much anything, any last minute questions? Anybody interested in wanting to try digital? You want to try it?
Best time to do that is come to an Elmer night on Tuesday night and we can
Yeah.
walk you through any of that.
Now, we can, I will tell you, anything that can go wrong, I've already found.
Except what's next.
Well, yours are still working. Mark had a problem that we could not figure out. He'd take his 991A, he would connect to my room. Great. He'd disconnect from my room and he could never connect again. The only way he could connect again was to totally shut down the 991A and restart it. We were baffled. We went, you guys, one of the things, if you do get into digital, I print manuals. I mean, there are manuals upon manuals. Every one of these areas have a different manual. But we went through the manual, went through everything, could not figure out what was going on. Mark was fiddling around on the internet, found a guy that says, oh, if you're having trouble connecting back into Wires X on 991, set your squelch at 20. He set his squelch at 20, he connected, disconnected, connected, disconnected, connected, disconnected. Nowhere in documentation is it written, but every manual that I give out to somebody, there is a big red deal that says, this one isn't this one, but there's a big red deal just like this. It says on the 991A, set your squelch at 20 for Wires X. Because we found it the hard way. Okay, that's it. Bye.
Let's take a break. Well, let's be back in here by that clock 20 tells.
While you're up and about, come up and take a look at the radios and stuff he's got set on the table.
That's it. It's not.
But it's. That's what.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Sit down, please sit down. So it's like.
Yeah, I like it.
Or we have radio jack. In my car. Pick one. Yeah. What is kind of like, because, whatever. Whatever you want. Not all of them. I'm giving idea.
All right, let's, grab our seats.
Yeah. I don't think I did. My battery.
All right, again, we're glad everybody's here. David did a good job. And, you know, I know he said he didn't want to do it, but I'm glad he was here. That was,
Yeah.
you know, there's one thing about him and radio. You can always find something to spend money on. And David's one of those people that if you're around him, hold on to your wallet, because he'll spend money. So, yeah, he is reasonable. I'll give him that.
Don't say nothing.
All right, well, let's start with our introductions. I'm Mike, K0BFE and Mark Klein,
I'm Mark Klein, N5HVR. I'm Kim Elmore, N5, does Morse code on.
I'm
Ron, N6 CLA. James, KG5LXV.
Mark, N5AZQ.
Chris, K5JBN.
Steve, K5TVV.
Dwayne, A5KD.
Peter, K5COI.
Galen, WX5NL.
Hilton, KK5JFG. Bob, KK5HFN.
Kenny?
WA6DKD, then
KJ5, DWH, Billy.
Thomas, AG5, IJ.
Brent,
Dean, KK6, IPL.
Brett, KI5, CWP.
Aubrey, KF5, BJH. David, KJ5, IJC.
Jeff, KD5, CKK.
David, KI5, QMF.
Margaret, KJ5 FQH.
Bill, A5F.
Al, A5L. Larry, W5LHG.
Mike, N5, SOF. Ron, K5, RJR.
Anthony, KJ5,
Candace, KJ5 IJD.
David, KD5 SRX. Back here.
I'm James, KG5, sorry. AG5H, yeah, I'll get there.
KF5NTV, I'm gonna flag.
Robert, KF5G campus.
Jeremy, N5, UA.
Melissa, W5 LIC.
Caleb, KJ5, LOS.
YouTube, KJ5,
Ken, KA7GE.
Mary, no call sign.
Yeah.
Two back there.
KA0, IKD, Todd.
Tony, WX9AER.
AG5, ED, Ed. K5, ITR.
Rob, N5 ATG.
And I know we've got people online, but I can't see them. I think there was Mike, KB5HXT. There was the other Mike out in Newcastle. Can't remember his whole name. Carl, KG5SSW. Mike Prince, there was KJ5CHD. We caught him sleeping earlier. I don't know if y'all saw that. He wasn't really sleeping. I just want to say that. All right, I'm going to turn the mic over to Mark for just a few minutes.
As you know, every month we lose hams. Not just here locally, but every month we lose hams all over the area. Most recently, Tom. So I'd like to take a moment, do a moment of silence and remember all the hams in the area and around the state of Oklahoma that we lost. So let's take a minute and remember them. Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. All right, Chris, you want to do our secretary minutes, please? Okay. Last month. All right, last month we had treasurer's report read. We had 1865, 31 in checking, 26, 179, 46 in savings. $70.72 in petty cash. And the meeting minutes were read. PE report, our regular session, we had one new tech and one upgrade to general. And for field day, we had 2 upgrades to general. And then for WRL, announced about hand holidays, that was last month. And that the ARRL is about to have a semi-annual board meeting. Business. Mark gave a rundown on field day. We've had 323 CW contacts, 282 digital contacts, and 212 phone contacts. And we worked 70 of the 71 ARRL sections and 10 of the 14 Canadian sections. New business, Larry made an announcement that the ARRL member club, or as an ARRL member club, we get kickback to new members that join the ARRL through us. We're doing well financially, but the ARRL is struggling. So he made a motion for us to no longer participate in the commission program. So the ARRL will retain the portion of money we would get to keep. The motion was made and seconded, and the vote was unanimous. We got a program by Jeff White, who gave the presentation of the top thing. And we are looking for net control operators for 6 and 10 meter nets. And we had more 9 out, it was August 5th that we participated in. And with that, the meeting closed at 11:14. Thank you. Caleb. Yes. Oh, good.
You wanna talk about the more night out and how that went?
Well, I mean, you were, I was
Go
in
ahead.
the rock over here.
So National Night Out was held in Moore on Tuesday night. There were thousands of people. What's your estimate? I guess
3,000.
I would say several thousand people there.
I was guessing 5 to 6.
Yeah.
They always make a big turnout.
About 150 vendors, I think, brought in, 2 helicopters, Channel 5's, Chase brought his in, Air Evac brought in one. Of course, it's a deal that started years ago, by Target and some other folks to go through various community neighborhoods. Well, we've turned it into a kind of a house type deal, but and they did come, free food, free everything. Of course, on the emergency management side, we had the big truck there. I tried to run the Aries net out of the truck, which is why we do exercises, because there were some things that broke and some things I needed to fix. But we were successful in running the net. Mark and Mike and whoever else had table set up right next to us with I don't know what you guys had, antennas and.
We had an HF rig set up. Use the mic. We had an HF rig set up. We had wires X set up. We had 2 meter 440 set up. And we had brochures to give out to the public. We had 8 or 9 people that come by and seemed really interested about amateur radio. And that's good. That's how you get them to, open the door for them. Told them to come see us at Elmer Night, visit, kind of get an idea. If they wanted to come to the meeting today, they were welcome. But we always like to do those events to show off amateur radio and to answer questions.
Yeah, and our booth was set up next to Galen's trailer.
Right.
I need that.
He did that on
Just for this, 'cause everybody calls this truck a trailer or something. I had to give you just a little bit.
All right, Larry, treasurer's report, please.
Okay, last month we did good. We had several people join. Net income is 71.96. There's still a few field day out that have been turned in. So we got 1,846 in the checking account, 26,170 in savings, and 170 in petty cash. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you. Larry, Ed, you wanna do the VE and the technical committee?
Okay, we've been busy this last month, seems like it always is. Ham holiday, you see, we have 4 new techs upgrades in general. I know Caleb's in the house, so he upgraded to general at there at Stephen. I know I saw you here from the. And Stephen is one of the intrepid ones who also came to see us this last week and upgraded to general. And I'm sure it's my upgrade. Now we've got some, it's always this new hands and upgrades, we have an upcoming test session on the 4th, if I remember right, of September. So any questions, by all means, come to us. We charge you the great star price of $0. And you give it to me, right? Other than that, and tech wise, everything's up and running well. We have some solar weather coming this weekend. I'm sure we're all just waiting for.
All right, thank you, Ed. All right, Mark, Cora and AWRL, please.
Cora report, Cora is a Central Oklahoma Radio Amateurs Group. We are a club of clubs. Our club and about half a dozen others in Oklahoma City get together once a month to plan two, not just one, two Hamfests, one in Oklahoma City, one in, where's that other one? Oh, yeah, Ardmore. Yeah, we do Ardmore also now. Last week was last week, 2 weeks ago was the Ham holiday. Raise your hand if you were there. Ah, look at that. Okay, if you weren't there, why not? Come on. A lot of good stuff there. There was a lot of stuff bought and sold. My number, when we went to the wrap-up meeting, is like, how much money changed hands in that room over those 2 days? According to the tax commission, probably $1.50. But you think about it, you know, all the radios you saw, Ken Sanborn had something that was like 2 feet deep on his table and it went down to nothing. But it's kind of cool to see that much stuff move around to different people as it happens. Had some great presentations, and then Dwayne's also. No, we had some great presentations, Dwayne's included. All of them were full. We ran about total attendance was about 500 people. Some nice gentlemen out of Texas won the big super raffle, Malachowski, something like that, out of that area. He said he bet $40 and he won a $4,000 radio, so he called his wife to gloat on his great purchase. So he was a big winner on that. We will have the next one coming up in October 11th down in Ardmore at the Ardmore Convention Center. It is a similar event, a lot of good. There's a lot of good Texas stuff that you can get at the flea market stuff coming up. You can sign up online at Panorama.org. Panorama.org. Tickets are available now. Also, another one of those fantastic super raffle radios, $4,000 for a. I don't know who likes Yaesu. It's a Yaesu. I get the numbers always wrong. FTDX 101D, is that right? 100-watt radio, a nice $4,000. So probably now with the tariffs, $8 million. Yeah, something like that. So that's coming up with Cora. We will have an all ham dinner. September 3rd, Thursday, September, I think it's the 19th, 18th, 19th. Third Thursday of that, and it will be at the same Pickles Steakhouse restaurant on the west side of town. So we get about 70 hams together at that piece, and it's great to talk about, we'll have to tell some stories and have some good food. So that should be a good deal. Lots of, if you're into KORAOK.org, KORAOK.org, if you're into some special public service stuff, that group is the one that does marathons and bike races and all kinds of things. So the cool stuff coming up, Route 66 on the air. Anybody heard about it? Anybody know what Route 66 is? Yes. We got 26 stations from here, California to Chicago, that will be running. The goal is to talk to all of them. Dwayne, how many did you get last year? All of them. Good job. They they will run phone, CW, or that other thing. It's not very popular. What is that? FTA. Oh, FTA. Yeah. That's what it is. They will run all modes on those stations. So if you're redoing a radio, putting a new antenna together to get it ready for early September, that's like a month away in case your calendar impaired like I am. So I've got to put a bigger antenna up to make sure life is good. If you wish to be a net operator and you want to be involved in that, the information is on the club newsletter. Give me a contact. We have been determined in Norman to be Route 66 adjacent. So if you have a station that you want to sit and operate as a net control operator, and you want to be one of the people that everybody's calling you, the Oklahoma City bunch is welcoming us big time. So Norman is part. You do not have to drive up and sit in the middle of the road. You can operate. You can operate. Dwayne does that. He goes to Pops. Did they have the sewer problem fixed this year? Yeah. Okay. Went there 2 years ago. Woo. That was not good. They were trying to serve burgers with that happened. Not the day to do that. But the cool thing this year is Bill Hartzell is one of our Oklahoma Civil Air Patrol guys. He's a pilot, he is a ham. He is taking one of the Civil Air Patrol 182 glass panel airplanes from here to Chicago, and he will be flying the entire route, stopping at 16 or so different airports along the way throughout the week. And they will be operating VHF out of the airplane and hopefully HF out of the airplane on that thing. Yes, sir, Dwayne, the Dean.
Did you find out which call sign he was gonna be using?
It's one of the Rover call signs, Whiskey 6, something.
Something.
I don't
wanted to know the specific one.
No, yeah, I don't know what that one is. It's at the Route 66 on the air website, if they've assigned it yet. I don't, Dwayne, do you know what it is? No. But it's from here over up there. I think they said it'll take 5 days to make the trip, is the plan that they're using. Pending failures may take longer.
Is it gonna be a 1-by-1 call?
He will be a 1 by call. Well, he will be, it's a Whiskey 6, we are Whiskey 6 Kilo. And he will be one of the upper ones, probably, Whiskey 6.
Probably UV.
Yeah, UVZ something, is what he will be. And they are, the story I heard is that they have removed it's the automatic system on a airplane, the automatic automatic frequency, there's a frequency hopping radio. On that piece, they removed that long wire antenna and they were put on an HF antenna, and they did some tests about 2 weeks ago. And said that was operational and they were doing some HF from the radio, or from the airplane. So I hope they have a good headset, that could be enough.
They don't have the 2025 stuff.
They don't have it there yet, okay, but it should be one of the W6. We are W6K, El Reno is, I'm sorry, Elk City, the other E. Elk City is W6L, K, we're J. They're J, we're K, Tulsa is L. So we have 3 in the state there. And they get thousands of contacts out of that deal for the Oklahoma City one, so it's a big deal.
He's starting out in Illinois, so right?
He's starting out in Chicago. He's gonna run from Chicago all the way to the California end. Yeah. Okay, fly up there first.
They use the same call sign for the entire route.
So the same call sign will be for the entire route. Yeah. And they usually have rovers, like a car. It usually have guys that have old cars. I keep wanting to do that every once in a while, and just put a radio in an old car and just run the route. And they have a bunch of what they call rover call signs at the end. And that's what they usually do is cars. That's not they're gonna do the airplane. That's kind of cool.
Well, the Arizona unit generally have a couple of road cars.
Yeah.
That go to special places in Arizona.
I think I'm talking like temporary or we're gonna land, plane's gonna be in the air, things like that.
I'm sure we'll have something detailed. It's coming out of Bill out of here in Oklahoma City, so I'm sure we'll have access to the information as it goes, as it runs. Tom, Webb is chasing all that stuff, so I'm sure we'll get that more detailed. We'll put it in the newsletter to make that happen, but that could be fun, so get your radios up and running. There's all kinds of stuff coming up. There's a firefighter on the air thing that's happening in October, so get your radios tuned up, ready to go. We'll do some special next stuff. That's enough for now. Oh, Enid Hamfest, yeah, thank you. Enid Hamfest is September 14th. September 14th, it will be at the same place it was last year. They are trying to get it moved to November, back to the second week in November where it used to be, the way God meant it to be. But the Mennonite women have an event there, so it's a fight between Mennonite women and hams. Who's putting their money on the Mennonite women? I think we're all right. But I had lunch with Jim Fabian from there last week. And they're all in good shape. They're gonna try to do a super raffle there also, a little smaller super raffle.
Same day as club.
Same day as club meeting. How about that for somebody else?
It'll be worked out.
Hire.
And it'll be posted in advance.
Yeah, we started talking about it today, but okay, good deal. Thank you.
Hey, Mark, real quick, did you say Enid Hamfest was the 14th of September?
Right,
That's a Sunday.
13th then.
Third.
It's gonna be the other Sunday, real close to that.
Oh, okay.
And the 14th, the last day of the Route 66 event also?
That's our club.
Yeah, in that timeframe. It's the first week of the month.
Okay, so we have a lot of nets. Right now, we have we haven't been having our 6 meter and 10 meter nets. We need net control operators, so that'd be great for somebody to pick up. It's not that scary. It's actually a lot of fun. I may pick up a 6 meter. We'll have to just see if my equipment works. Then on Monday nights, we have the Aries DMR net at 8:15 PM, top group 3140. And then on Tuesdays, we have the Aries net at 8 PM, and that is on our VHF repeater. Yes, unless we say something different. Then you want to cover the MacNet and the Gossip Net?
All righty, well, the magnet is every morning at 9 o'clock except Sunday. We come in there and check in and tell us a little bit about what your day is planned. And they've been running about 30, average about 30 stations checking in on that one. And a good time's had by one and all. And then on Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock or 8:30, after the Aries net, it's the Gossip net. And again, you can get on there and out of the technical into the and over to the social side of radio where you can talk about anything you like. And that ought to cover it.
Right. One update on the Enid Hamfest, we just looked it up. The Hamfest is gonna be September the 20th. Write that down. September the 20th from 8 to 3 at the Chisholm Trail Expo Center there in Enid. So September the 20th.
When's the Ardmore?
The Ardmore one is October the 11th. It's Saturday, October 11th. It just happens to be, let me think. It just happens to be that one football game, the Red River between Texas and Oklahoma. But we're not thinking of that. We're thinking Ardmore. Okay. Yes, yeah. Come early.
All right, also, Thursday nights, we have the K0BFE UGO Memorial Net. That's like a 2-round net.
Yeah.
That's on the 440 UHF machine. It's a lot of fun. You check in the second round, you get to talk about anything you want to talk about. So it's a lot of fun. That's at 8 PM on Thursdays. And you want to cover the McLean County? That's what Bill told me.
All right, we have McLean County Aries net every Wednesday evening, 8 PM on David, K0BFE's repeater that he just talked about today. Obviously, various ways of getting in. Can't get in over RF. You can get in through his reflector, that 57618 YSF reflector by your hotspots. Also on Wednesday mornings at 8 o'clock in the morning, we have an informal get together at Jimmy's Egg in Newcastle. Don't have to be a member of our Aries group. Come join us if you have an opportunity to do that. Mark comes once in a while or when he can. Mike's been there a time or two, so come join us for that. So one last thing. We do our Aries meetings in McLean County are the third Thursday evening of the month. We alternate between the shelter in Newcastle, shelter EOC in Newcastle, and then the McLean County EOC down at Purcell. So those are at 7 o'clock on the third Thursday of every month. This month it'll be in Purcell. So
The Aries net is all digital, right?
yes, it is all digital now.
No analog way to get it.
Right, no analog now. Correct, it's all digital.
And for those of you that like coffee, Dean usually is there, Dean and Bill, at McDonald's in Norman on Lindsay, right? What time do y'all normally get there? Y'all get started?
Well, they just early get there at about 8:30 and they stay all the way till 11.
Yeah, so,
Don't go.
get there sometime after 8:30. If you haven't done it, it's a lot of fun, just sit down and get face to face and just hang out with people. It's a lot of fun. And Ed, do you want to cover the sign yet?
Siren Net's obviously every Saturday at noon. You can thank today's beautiful weather outside to Margaret. It's not her week. But we're always looking for spotters, also usually net control operators, because there are a few of us, 3 of us right now. So We can probably use more, but today's net is going on, don't forget your sirens out there. One special request, Wayne's already sent out the email, so all the good stuff. But Moore could use some spotters, so all those that live in Moore, are you it now?
Me and
Well, we know you're out there rolling around, you already said where you're gonna be. So there are, if you definitely live in the Moore area and interested in sirens, there are plenty of them available.
What skills do you need to be a siren listener?
But you gotta have ears. You don't have to be the best ears, they are quite loud. The whole thing. But you out there, it's on the VHF repeater, so. UHF, excuse me, and one thing you have to remember, especially with weather days, solar weather days count. Handhelds are more spotty, you wanna make sure you get in, make sure you have a good antenna. So, other than that,
there are two besides me, by the way. But you're
Yeah,
standing
I do
next to
more.
me. Thomas too.
yeah,
But you know, I think maybe we should just designate Margaret during the summer so we get more rain. It always rains on her day. All right, and then this afternoon, if you're bored and you don't have anything to do this afternoon, we have Denny's antenna party out at his place. That's gonna start at 2 p.m. And we're gonna put an antenna up for him, help him get back up on HF, so. All right, and Dwayne, did you want to pitch your antenna?
No, Tom will do that.
Okay. Oh,